Back in September 2017, I made a video about different pet peeves that I have in RPG Maker games. We went through everything from what you can find in games to the struggles and challenges that developers face in the crafting of making games. Though this time around, I'm going to be the most heinous, hypothetical developer one could ever imagine. I'm going to pull different features from existing games out there that I've encountered that's questioned my sanity, which I'll put into my own game. Disclaimer, not copying the content from those games, but the quality and effectiveness on how it can turn a game upside down. Also, this isn't a video to poke anyone or anyone's games. We're all here to enjoy ourselves. Apologies in advance if I upset anyone. Usually you'll find one or two major problems in one game, but in this video, what I want to do is make every single aspect of my hypothetical game an abomination. Even having the thought, a sliver of its taste, the particle-sized trace of its existence is enough to make your every living day, without a question or a shadow of doubt, demoralizing. Everything from A to Z, 0 to 9 etc. is going to become everything you've never wanted in a game. To fear or not to fear the next few minutes or so will be a test of your own mental strength. Let's get started, and hopefully by the end of all this, we feel a bit better about ourselves through the current abomination that is the virus that will remain unnamed. First and foremost, there are many bad games out there. Not just RPG, but any genre on any platform, you will find a game that's intentionally made to be memey, a joke, or not meant to be serious in any way, shape or form. If the game itself is for free, then the only thing you have sacrificed is your time. But not in my game. I want people to pay for my game to witness the abominations, to drain your time, money, and sanity. That steps it apart from an equally bad game that you didn't pay for, right? It didn't feel as horrible if it were a free game over a game you paid for. Now the game itself. The first thing I think of are the maps of the game. What do they look like? How does each feature on a map function? Does it function on how it is intended to? Or is it a complete flop? I want my maps to be as large in both size and quantity of the maps that you can find on elevator rituals. Granted, the game does take place in a hotel, so there is a reason as to why the layout on every floor are very similar. Though not only are each of the floors similar, but there's only about 2 or 3 differences on each floor entirely. There's no reason to have 10 floors where each one is too big, 8 bedrooms per floor where all of the rooms that are openable are copy and pasted from one another with minor editing. Miscellaneous items that fills up a room are pretty much the same on every floor, in every room you go into. Most of the rooms on each floor don't serve a purpose. They're only there as placeholders, anything else that serves a purpose. For my game, I'm planning to have the same attentiveness to the maps that Elevator Rituals has. Speaking of Elevator Rituals, it also has some nasty spawn points for NPCs to kill you, so that can also be an inspirational factor to include. So I've got the maps of the game sorted out, but I do need to colour them in and light them to give it some realism, or fantasy depending on perspective. I've taken inspiration from Black Winter, where the lighting, or the lack of lighting, makes the game seem scary. Scary as in where in this dimension is the character I'm controlling at the moment at. Up a wall, down a rabbit hole, or inside a gigantic freezer. When you do escape from the quote-unquote scary lighting and in somewhere in which you can see 2 foot in front of you, the colour palette everywhere would be better off looking like a child's crayon drawing. At least in Eve that looks really nice to the eyes, but besides the point, when have you ever seen dark purple on the walls to make the room feel small, or a dark grey floor that makes the already small room feel even smaller? In my game, I am taking inspiration of the colour palettes and the lighting, or lack of lighting, from Black Winter. Maybe the duality of the map sizes of elevator rituals and colours of Black Winter could be two evils that will breed an angel together, or an even greater evil. Visuals of the game are much intact, the map sizes, quantity of maps, along with the colour palettes and lighting of the game. Everything is falling into place for new historical records. What's going to draw people in more than just the visuals? What about a story that the player can fathom out for themselves? Let this game be an open-ended book where anything or anyone can make up their own interpretation of what happens, because you are going to need them. I landed on Forest of Animals as my source of greatness in the game that I'm making. I want bee passes and tiger council meetings to be something that is of the norm in my game. Something that is incredibly head scratching to even consider piecing together a general idea of what's going on, let alone a TV trope or a wiki page of everything from A to Z of what's theoretically going on. I'd also like it so that at all times I can see where my character is, so trees, buildings or any other tall items are essentially laying on the ground in which they cover the map. Visuals and storyline of the game concreted, cemented, sealed, etc. And remember, the release of the game itself is going to be a 1.0 and only a 1.0. So if there are any crashes or bugs found in the game, I'm sorry, but like the game, I'm also playing my part of being an abomination of a person, as well as the game itself being one, by not addressing bugs or crashes. Think of them as part of the experience. Roaming around the game, as big and nonsensical as the maps are, if you can see that is and you want a source of light, how to light them, and most importantly, where to find them. You guessed that these factors are a necessity to survive in the game, and indeed you are correct. But they aren't fixed to one place, oh no, and getting one in the supposed places of them isn't guaranteed, as RNG is heavily rigged over a normal, more convenient way of just picking something up. Candle with a lowercase a is the twinkling source of inspiration for this idea, where it would be impossible to write up a fixed guide on where you can find each and every item in each possible location where they can spawn. Want a lighter for your candles? Too bad, you'll wander in the darkness aimlessly to find that lighter, and when you do find it, you'll find there's no fluid in that lighter. Rinse and repeat. Wander around in the darkness to find a random spot in the game where you'll find fluid. Once you find it though, you better use it well, as it only lasts for about a nanosecond. Now that you have the fluid, time to light up that candle. Oh wait, we need to find a candle. Don't worry, like before, wander around in the endless darkness to find a candle and you should be good to go. I feel though that randomization of where essential items spawn in candle aren't anywhere near as RNG as they can be though. In my game, I'll make it so not only every time you load into the game items change locations along with a chance of getting that item, but I'm also going to change the locations and chances of getting them every time you move in the game. That's right, upwards, downwards, to the side, it doesn't matter. Items will change their locations each and every time you move, and the items in question can't spawn anywhere that's next to or the tile adjacent to the playable character is at the moment. So good luck. What we have left now are possible puzzles and riddles found in the game, and none of these are optional where you can ignore them. All of them are a necessity to solve and complete the game, and I found that the wonderful mind-tearing elements of the demo nostalgia are a great sport source of inspiration. It's a sport in itself. Literally a game where only the developers know how to solve the puzzles logically, because only in their own logic does it make any logical sense. Like the RNG I mentioned earlier, not only are the essentials spawned randomly, items, but also the questions, answers, and hints to the puzzles and or riddles will be generated randomly from a database from 1,000,000,000,000 different possibilities. Also, like the survival items needed to see where you are going, every time you move, the questions, answers, and hints will change every time you move. So there's no escaping the torments and agony of going through my game. You'll probably wonder how large this game is going to be when it comes to space on your computer. Don't worry, the game itself will only be a couple of megabytes at most, to conceal the fact that the amount of possible assets in the game feel like an infinite amount. We have absolutely everything down that we need to create the perfect game for all to enjoy. There is one other thing I just thought of. I want my game to be enjoyed in every speaking language possible, so everyone worldwide can play my game. The translations of the game from English to Spanish, English to Japanese, etc. I want can only be understood if you have read nursery rhymes native to the English language. Meaning players who don't understand English, studied English, or read up any nursery rhymes native to England won't be able to understand riddles in the game. A game I played not too long ago called Nightmare of Melanie is the inspiration behind the translations idea, as in that game, it is only possible to complete the game if you understand nursery rhymes of the native language in which the game was originally written in. Lastly, there are no save points in the game, and there's no autosave function, meaning you're required to complete this game from start to finish in one session. I hope everyone's kept up with all this, because now it's recap time. For the perfect RPG Maker game, we have the following, and also don't forget, this is a game you are required to pay a minimal fee of £50, like a AAA title. Map sizes and quantity of maps inspired by Elevator Ritual. Enemy NPCs inspired by Elevator Ritual. A story inspired by Forest of Animals. Map passability inspired by Forest of Animals. Survival mechanics and RNG inspired by Candle. Puzzles and riddles inspired by Nostalgia, along with translation qualities inspired by Nightmare of Melanie. This, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone else, is without a question or shadow of doubt the perfect RPG Maker game. Every box ticked to ensure that the player has the worst time ever on a game. What the hell have I drawn up here? Hope you all enjoyed this video as much as I have writing this up, recording everything, editing it, and seeing what you all say about it in the comment section below. Remember, this video is not to be taken seriously. Unlike certain events unnamed recently, we all at some point need some enlightenment, and I hope that this video has provided even a little bit of light to your day where you are. Keep calm, stay safe, wash your hands regularly. Yep, I see you there. Look out for your close ones. Thank you very much for watching, and take care of yourselves.